Hey guys, Doug from X Factor Tactical here with a review of Kel Tec's PF9 pistol. This is a semi-automatic locked breech pistol that fires the 9mm cartridge, has a 7-round capacity in its magazine. The slide is made from 4140 ordnance steel. The internal aluminum frame is made out of 7075 T6 aluminum, and the grip is made out of DuPont's ST8018 polymer. All those materials, in my prior experience, are pretty durable, pretty decent, and my overall experience with Kel Tec actually has been pretty good. If you've seen my other reviews, you'll notice I hold them in high regard as a high value, really kind of out of the box thinking firearms designer, and so I like them a lot. Haven't really had any problems with their firearms in the past, so I thought I wouldn't be taking too much of a risk picking up the smallest, lightest, thinnest 9mm semi-automatic that I'm aware of. This weapon weighs in at 12.7 ounces unloaded. It's 0.88 of an inch thick, so if you're looking for an off-duty carry or a CCW carry and you don't want to carry a brick around with you, this might be a pretty good competitor for those dollars, especially in that this weapon retails for approximately $250 to $300 depending on what part of the country you're looking at it. And some details about the weapon. It utilizes, the newer PF9s utilize a metal mag catch, has a traditional slide lock. I should mention the weapon is double action only. It has a hammer that you can see in the rear there. However, it does not, it's important to note, does not have a second strike capability. The sights are traditional 3-dot. The rear sight is adjustable for windage. The front sight is pinned very much like a Glock sight is. It is thin. The fit and finish is actually somewhat poor. However, that's kind of a trademark with most Kel Tecs. The fit and finish isn't that great, but usually they're pretty lightweight and they work pretty well. In the case here, you'll see, and I apologize for the poor camera work here, but there's a large gap in the slide to frame, the way the slide and the frame mates on the left side of the pistol. It's considerably smaller on the right side of the pistol. The trigger, by the way, trigger pull's about 5 pounds. It is extremely long, much like a revolver, and of course the reset is extremely long. So I was curious, how is this thing going to perform? How accurate can I be with it, considering some of those handicaps in the trigger? You look at the front of the weapon here, you can see that there is a rail for accessories. I think there's a TLR3 that would fit nicely on that. There's some laser setups and some other G-Wiz products that you can put on there. My purpose of use, strictly off-duty carry, being that I'm becoming fat and lazy. Even that small, lightweight Glock 27 has become a little bit of a chunk on my hip, so I thought this might be a neat alternative. Some of the other weapons that I was considering that fall in this genre of size, weight, and power were some 5-shot revolver offerings by Smith and by Ruger. The Smith revolvers that come in at this same weight, though, are extremely expensive, 2 to 3 times as much, from $500 to $750, depending on what material you order that revolver in. Scandium being the lightest, and by the way, the lightest weight 5-shot revolver that I'm aware of is that Smith & Wesson Scandium revolver that weighs 11.5 ounces, but it's something like $750. It's pretty expensive. Ruger has an LCR that comes in at 13.5 ounces, but it's a couple $100 more than this. This cost me $250, and is lighter and has a considerably larger capacity internally than the 38 Special does. And the 9mm cartridge, modern Plus B 9mm cartridges are considerably more powerful than the 38 Special cartridges. This weapon has a 3.1-inch long barrel, so you're getting relatively decent ballistics out of it, whereas the short revolvers, have nothing much there for a barrel at all. 1.78 inches, 2 inches, something like that. Again, very inexpensive, very lightweight, very thin, great carry gun. Now for the bad. Took the weapon to the range yesterday with 150 rounds. Brought 75 rounds of Golden Saber hollow points by Remington, and brought 75 rounds of Ranger by Winchester. And the results were identical, dismal. I had, of the 150 trigger pulls that I made, well, I should take that back. I should correct myself. I probably pulled the trigger about 200 times and only got about 150 repours from the gun. The weapon had a variety of problems. The magazine would spontaneously eject 1 out of 5 trigger pulls. The weapon would fail to feed about every other round. The weapon would fail to eject maybe 1 out of 10 rounds. I stopped in the middle of the range session, cleaned the weapon. It didn't appear to have any impact on its performance at all. I experimented with different grips, gripping the heck out of the weapon, getting both hands high on the back strap. Didn't seem to make any difference. Both of the performance rounds I was using failed equally. The one thing I can say about the weapon is that it is extremely accurate. I was easily, even with the silly sights and the funny trigger, I was easily able to hold under 3 inches at 15 yards. I was quite surprised. But the reliability at the end of the range session precluded me from even considering this as a carry weapon right now. Now, all those negative things being said, I jump on the forums and I do some research on the weapon, and lo and behold, there have been a lot of problems with the weapon. I was aware of some of them prior to purchasing the weapon, but my research led me to believe that those problems had been fixed, and evidently I was wrong, because there are still some lemons floating out there. This serial number is means it was produced, the serial number behind this weapon indicates it was produced somewhere in mid-2010, after most of the major updates to the weapon were completed. So again, very, very disappointed. Now, I will say that, again, looking at the forums, other folks who have had similar problems did appear to get satisfaction after they sent their weapon back to Kel Tec, which that is what I am doing tomorrow when I can get to a UPS store and send this guy overnight back to Kel Tec for a complete rework, because this was a disaster. First real bad experience I've had with Kel Tec. Again, digging on the forums, you see lots of folks who indicate that they have fired hundreds, if not thousands, of rounds out of the weapon with zero to little malfunctions. I don't know if I got a lemon, but we'll find out. Hopefully Kel Tec stands behind its lifetime warranty. But I will be coming out with a part 2 to talk about, hey, did these issues get addressed? The potential for this weapon is very, very high. It is lightweight, it's thin. The control surfaces, work well. It's the ergonomics behind it pretty well thought out. But it's got a fire, and without that, it's just a paperweight. So we'll see how Kel Tec come through on the warranty end, and I will create a part 2. I'll also show some close-ups at the end of this video, some stills of some of the more interesting parts of the weapon. And hope I've got good news for you here shortly. X Factor Tactical out.